Hello, in this video lecture I'm going to discuss one of the important topic of operating system which is called as deadlock. So before discussing this condition for or the situation for how the deadlock arises, I want to discuss about the process and the resources. So when we say what we mean by process, when a program is in execution, then we call that as a process. Means the active form of program is called a process. Program is an passive form of process, and when a program is in active form, means when it is executing, then it is called a process. Then what are the resources? It is defined as a physical or logical tool used to perform a task. Physical resources are also called as hardware resources, which include input-output devices, memory, and CPU. So every process must require at least one resource to complete its task, such as ALU and CPU. But the number of processes is much more compared to the number of resources. Means the number of resources available is limited. Hence, resources must be shared by process, but all resources are not shareable. Example is printer. So when the number of resources are not shareable and a process is waiting for a resource which is held by another process, then that condition is called as deadlock. Means when a resource is held by one process and that process needs another resource to complete its task, and that resource is held by some other process which will not release that resource, then that condition is called deadlock. So there are four necessary conditions for deadlock to occur. They are mutual exclusion, no preemption, hold and wait, and circular wait. What is mutual exclusion? When at least one resource must be non-shareable by a process, then the condition of deadlock will arise. And no preemption means when no resource from the process can be forcibly released, means the process can only release its resource voluntarily by itself. Other process cannot by force take the resource from that process. So it is called no preemption. Then hold and wait. If a process wants to request a resource, then that process must hold another resource. It means the process is holding one resource and then it will ask for another resource which is held by another process. Means it is holding one resource and requesting for another resource or waiting for another resource. Then that condition is called hold and wait. Then circular wait. The process must form a cycle or in a circular way. Means the process must be waiting in a circular way for the deadlock condition to occur. It means if one process is holding one resource and waiting for another resource which is held by another process, and that process is also waiting for another resource which is held by different process, then it will form a cycle, and this condition leads to the occurrence of deadlock. So there is one formula to prevent occurrence of deadlock. So if a deadlock condition should not arise, then there should be the sufficient number of resources. And if there is a sufficient number of resources, minimum requirement resources, then there will be no condition of deadlock. Suppose let M be the number of resources, N be the number of process, and I be the resource requirement. Then formula to prevent deadlock is summation of del I, that is the minimum number of resource requirement, should be less than summation of process and the resources. Suppose one example is there are four processes P1, P2, P3, P4, and their resource requirement is given, and we have to find the minimum number of resources so that the deadlock condition will not occur. So by using the above formula, we can calculate it. So first we have to find the total minimum resource requirement. That is the summation of del I, which is 2 plus 1 plus 3 plus 2, which is coming 8. Then M is the minimum resource requirement, and we have to calculate, and N is the total number of process, which we know there are 4 process. So putting value of summation of del I and N in the equation, we will get value of M is greater than 4. So in order to prevent deadlock to occur, the minimum value for resource M should be more than 4, that is 5. So if you have understood the concept and like the video, its content, then please do like, share and subscribe my channel, and do comment also so that I may improve if any improvement needed. Thank you.